Okay, everybody, I believe that we are live. How you doing? How's everything? I hope you're all right, everyone. Let's talk. Let's start with this. All right, so post-market wrap-up on this Friday. Friday. Remember our special ending that we do every single Friday? We're going to do it again today. So and I want everyone to participate. So as I said, Friday, December 15th, 2023. Let's start off with this. All right, so we just had another all-time record high for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. S&P 500 flat. NASDAQ put on some gains today. 10-year yield sitting at 3.91. Epic buying of debt here. But meanwhile, again, on the economic front, more bad news. And this has been going on for quite a long time. Manufacturing, factory activity, exports, all this stuff in the toilet, getting progressively worse here. The manufacturing sector in contraction, remains in contraction, and it's got nowhere to go. But you have to understand, and I know you get it, the worse this gets, and it's going to get a lot worse moving forward. The higher the market's going to go. Let me say this. How do I put this? Let me think. What's being set up right now is it's pretty easy to put together. At least I hope so. Let's try this. Once the Federal Reserve actually cuts rates, and they're going to, Wisco Pro, thank you. Hold questions for the end. I'm not even sure what this is. I don't know the trailer of that. Anyway, but thank you. So once the Federal Reserve, again, look, central banks, they're working together right now. They're all pausing, okay? And soon they're going to start cutting rates moving forward as inflation continues to surge. I mean, that's another thing. They are opening up the floodgates by design. But again, what they're doing is they're also setting up the counter story. In other words, inflation is dropping, prices are going down, people's cost of living is better, all that stuff. That's all getting set up right now. Watch the propaganda ministry. They're already floating out, all these freaking people, wherever they get them from. I sincerely believe what I'm about to tell you. So they get some person, they dress them up in a nice suit. They find them on the street, more than likely. And they just prop them up in front of a camera to read a script. And, they're reading the teleprompter, like they're all reading the freaking teleprompter. They make them look good and business-like and all nice and handsome or pretty or whatever it might be, and they're put there to just tell you a story. Quite obviously, it's just not real. Anyway, so again, a massive thing is being set up, and that I was trying to lead to here. Once the Federal Reserve starts to cut rates, and I think it's going to happen sooner than later, early next year. I mean, I'll be honest, people, you all know that I've been telling you this market's going up and up and up and up and up. Of course, I got ridiculed, I got laughed at because so-and-so's, saying that there's a crash. There's a lot of people getting on that, were over the past few months getting on that bandwagon, crash. I kept telling you, no, ignore these people because they're not looking at risk. Risk is the key to this entire thing, and you know that. Anyway, going back to what I was saying here, Del Pillar, thank you. Once the Fed starts cutting rates, it's going to create a buying frenzy, a buying extravaganza. Not just in my view with regard to the stock market, but everything. Everything is going to get bought up in that kind of situation. In my view, I think 24, and I hate to say this, Danny K, thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well. 24, as I have said, and we've discussed right here over and over and over, is going to be an epic year. It's going to be the year that central banks, in my opinion, as of right now, from everything that I'm looking at, all right, they're going to buy it all. They've been buying and buying and buying, and they're going to buy more, and they're going to find other reasons to blow up the debt even a lot more. Again, the debt-based economic model demands that more debt be pulled into the system. $1 trillion or nearly $1 trillion defense spending bill, which we don't have. We don't have anything. All we're doing is running vastly expanding debts and deficits. And you know this. Don't take Greg Mannarino's word for this. Just open up, I don't know, a search engine and just look it up if you don't believe me. Anyway, so that's what. So central banks, of course, are going to supply all the need. This is what they want. Central banks have put themselves into a position, which I've been telling you for over 10 years, to be the lenders and buyers of a last resort. They want to buy it all. They're going to own it all. 24 is when it's going to happen. And I think with regard to commodity prices, which they're going to play with, of course, especially because they're going to maintain the risk on environment. Okay. But at the same time, I think everything is going to get bought up too. We should probably see gold and silver prices start to reflect some of that as well. Although we understand the paper derivative game, JP Morgan, the number one rigger of metal prices in the history of the world. It's done by a lot of these mega institutions here, but none more so than JP Morgan. They rig the price, they spoof the price, they do everything they can. And again, I guarantee you, you hear this guy, the freak over there, Jamie Dimon, the head of this super bank, JP Morgan, and he's, always badmouths cryptocurrency and everything else. Although I guarantee you the guy owns some. There's probably a lot. Right, Jody? Jody Wales, thank you. But, he also owns probably vaults full of actual physical metals. Anyone that's not betting against the current situation, I'm talking about this hyper debt situation, is on the wrong side of this equation by you can't even believe how bad. But that does not mean there's not opportunity. Okay. People, for example, let's say you start to see gold and silver, platinum, palladium, all these metals, bang, bang, start to go up. Thank you, Joe. People, when they see that, they kind of shy away from it. I'm going to wait. No, I see, as you know, you all know me. All of you know, I don't think about the price action of gold and silver. I really don't. I talk about this all the time. I don't think about it. I understand why, and you all do too, why you're holding these assets right now, why you're acquiring more of these things right now. You're betting against the debt, becoming your own central bank, no matter what they do. And they're going to have a new, as you're all well aware of, we've talked about it repeatedly, a new tokenized digital system. It's not going to change the fact that gold and silver are real money. They've been real money for thousands of years, and it's not going to change no matter what system that we move into. You understand? A lot of you, and I was reading the comments here, didn't like what I said about Jim Rickards. Okay, let me just clarify this a little bit. I like Jim Rickards. I know it looks like he has a pretty big fan base, and I appreciate that. I'm not saying I am any smarter than Jim Rickards. I am certainly not smarter than Jim Rickards, nor am I smarter than the single person that's here right now. But what I did say, which seemed to get under the skin of a bunch of people here, was I believe, look, I could be wrong on this, but I'm just telling you what I think. He apparently has a $15,000 target on gold. I think it's high. I think it's high because, and I'm being realistic here. My take on this, people, I've never wavered from this. I have never wavered from this, and I'm still not going to. I believe, I'm going to tell you again why. Again, to those of you that got all upset about Gregory Mannarino calling out Jim, I'm not calling out Jim Rickards. I like the guy. Like I said, Jim, if you're out there, I know you know who I am. We actually spoke years ago. I like the guy, and he's smart. But my take is we're going to get a 1-to-1 Dow gold. He's talking about maybe a 2-to-1, okay? Because I believe we don't know where the bottom of the Dow is, people. We've talked about this repeatedly. Where's the bottom? We don't know where the bottom is. We do know one thing, that during the financial crisis, which we're in one right now, the Fed jumped in here at Dow 6,000. The market would have dropped lower than that. If we just say, where's the bottom? It could be 6,000. It could be 8,000. I think it's lower than 15. Let's put it that way. Okay. So my thesis and what I've been explaining to people forever, and you all know this is true, I have never weighed from this. Yeah, I'm getting a little uppity. I get that. Is a 1-to-1 gold Dow ratio. And I don't know where this can actually be, but I think it's going to be lower than 15,000 with regard to the Dow, which means the top for gold is probably going to be I would say substantially less than 15,000. Look, Jim may be right here. Jim could absolutely be right here, but I'm just telling you. You see, look, when someone comes up with this price or whatever it might be, what are they basing it on? First of all, let me explain this to you. I don't know what Jim Rickards is basing this on, and I'm not calling out Jim Rickards. Again, he's a smart guy, been around a long time. Okay, that's I don't think. But me, I look at it trying to figure out where the bottom for this market is, and we don't know where it is. And all we do know is we haven't seen the ultimate pump is about to come up right now with this presidential selection cycle. Oh, there's a new COVID. There's a new COVID variant, and it's very scary. It's very scary how it attacks your immune system, supposedly, and you got to probably get tested just to see if you have it because it's so deadly. COVID. You know what I'm talking about, right? Anyway, people, look. So for those of you who are Jim Rickards fans, and I get it, would I call myself a Jim Rickards fan? I don't know. I just respect the guy and I like what he says, but I'm not calling out anyone, people. But look, maybe Jim is right. You know my take on it, and I told you why. And I still believe, look, gold is a beautiful asset. I own it. I own platinum and palladium and a whole bunch of silver too. You all know that, but silver is my favorite asset based on Dow gold ratio and gold silver ratio, where I believe it's going to go. You understand? You get it, people. You got it. Anyway, so I hope we cleared that up because I didn't want to offend anyone out here. Anyway, I got to be silly sometimes, people. You know that. So again, with the whole freaking thing that's going on is out of control. Manufacturing continues to contract. It's not going to stop. I already explained to you, I just was writing down a few things here about when the Fed starts to cut rates, just watch what's going to happen. And first of all, second of all, or third of all, I don't even know what number I'm up to right now. Keep your eye on this 10-year yield. We went through 4. We're at 3.91 on the 10-year. We're going much lower. We're going to get a 3.8 handle at one point, maybe 3.7. The dollar on a relative strength basis, we're going to see that drop to the Dixie. Absolutely much look, I mean, the 90s is definitely within the realm of reality. We will see more than likely as the Fed begins to trim cut rates, probably maybe even a sub 200 MMRI, and the market is going to go full on orgasm until it doesn't. Again, you know me, all of you know me out here. I don't point to a date. I don't point to a time. A lot of people get off on doing that, and they're always wrong. No one can do this. I don't care if you're Jim Rickards, Greg Mannarino, or anybody else, you can't do it. Anyone that's pointing to the date or a time is someone that needs to up their medication a little bit because it's just an impossibility, and I think we're pretty much on the same page with this. And I wanted to get your take on this. All right, so first of all, let's laugh a little bit. Let's just laugh. Ready? The Congressional Budget Office. The Congressional Budget Office predicts. Are you ready for their prediction? Yeah, their prediction from the CBO here that inflation will fall in 24. Well, like magic, you're going to see, again, the propaganda ministry. They're all going to get their script. They're all going to read their script. Oh, inflation dropping. Prices are getting better. Oh, your cost of living, it's beautiful, isn't it, for you? Oh, everyone's doing great. We're all rich. That's what they're all going to get the same script. So they can do anything they want to. They could twist the numbers and, of course, go way out of their way to convince you that what you're seeing is wrong and what they're telling you is, look, they dictate your life to you, just like the Fed. We have to live under their rulership. It's a tyrannical institution that controls the economy, the financial markets, the financial, and they control, of course, the flow of information. People don't understand how powerful this organization is. Why do you think that our so-called caring representatives bow down on their knees and lick his dirty toes? Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, sir, for standing in the same room with me. I can't believe I'm breathing the same air as you, sir. Thank you for your service. You've done such a fantastic job bankrupting the United States, helping us do that, helping them, they all work together to destroy this nation, to destroy the world, central banks, so they can own it all. This is not science fiction. This is actually what's going on, and you all know that. So I want to. What do you think about the Congressional Budget Office prediction about inflation falling? I think it's going to be way off, and the fact that they said that tells me it's going to go way higher. Can't stop. Again, that's deficits ballooning, $1 trillion spending bills for this, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars for this war, blank check for Israel, everybody else. Oh, that's another thing. Have you seen all the comments how Greg is an anti-Semite? Greg is an anti-Semite because he's talking about Israel war, getting a blank check. Really? Where do you people come up with this stuff? Where do you come up with this stuff? Anyway, Carlos, thank you. Thank you. Simi.g. Wow, thank you. Anyway, people. Lord Humongous gets it. Exactly. Look at this guy. I love this guy, Lord Humongous. Been with me for, dude, how many years have you been with me? Axiom, another one. All you guys and girls, you're fantastic. Lava, Magic Mika, Joe. Where's Goldstein? She ain't here. I'm gonna be very unhappy here. Come on, people. All right, look. So before we end this lovely video blog, you want to cover a few things? Anything that's on your minds out here that you would like to talk about before we go? Real estate. All right, let's talk about real estate. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up here, Bill M. Let's think for a moment. Okay, Bill M. Great topic. Without me going way off the deep end on this, because I could probably sit here for an hour and talk about that alone. Let's put together a scenario. We already understand the demand for homes and real estate is, well, people can't afford to buy anything here, despite the fact that rates are now falling a little bit. People are now refinancing, but the demand here, ask any mortgage broker right now. They're going to tell you the demand for mortgages is almost non-existent right now, even though rates, people don't have the cash right now, but the price keeps going up. Okay. So let's put together a little easy equation. Okay. Let's do that. So once the Federal Reserve starts cutting rates, and this is a lock, it's a lock. We're not speculating. We're not guessing. We're not fantasizing. It's going to happen. What is that going to do? What would be the logical answer? Okay. Let's do a multiple choice here. Fed cuts rates. What's going to happen to home prices? They're going to drop. They're going to stay the same, or they're going to go higher. Which one would you pick? They're going to go higher. Yes, they are. And that's part of the extravaganza of buying that's going to come here. I mean, look, who's buying right now? Only the wealthy are. The wealthy, they're the only people. Look, how do we know? I've said this a million times, people, and I want you to think about this. If you're new here, maybe you haven't heard this before. How can you easily discern when something is in a bubble? In my opinion, and I've said this, I don't know, for over 10 years, I started to think logically. I heard a lot of bubble talk, bubble. Okay, bubble. A lot of people throw the word bubble around. How do we know when something is in a bubble? And it's very simple. It comes down to I could sum it up in probably a sentence or two or a paragraph. When the average price of any asset that goes above the ability for the average person to afford it, it's a bubble. It's that simple. So right now, an average guy, an average girl making an average salary can't afford an average priced home. Can't happen. So it's a bubble. It's that freaking simple here. They're gonna probably start. I tell you, man, it's just crazy what they're doing. They're turning the world again. This is part of the neo-feudal system here. Extreme haves, extreme have-nots. People are forced to rent. Owning your own home throughout history, for the most part, okay, except during the financial crisis here, it has rebounded, obviously, quite the whole thing, but is a way to almost live for free and have your house pay you to be in it for the most part. Eventually, this is all going to come down to people, but don't focus on that, right, Jeffrey Bobbitt? Thank you. Just look, you and I. We obviously focus on what's coming down all the time. We also have to somewhat focus on the now a little bit and pay attention to what has happened in the past, because history repeats itself over and over. Maybe not exactly, but it certainly does rhyme pretty damn good. So we will see, again, all of this get very real. And it's going to be, and it's not by accident. This is being driven by design by world central banks who are creating this situation here. Again, it's going to be the same thing as always: problem, reaction, solution. Issuing a new system, bang, bang, bang. You all know that. Anyway, so real estate, that's my take on it. In my opinion, and, people could say, look, I know I just bought this house here, and I paid a lot for it, a lot more than I would have liked to. Let's all be honest with each other. Brian, thank you. Yes, dude, Brian, I have put out a whole bunch of exchange traded funds in my free newsletter, link down here, which will give you exposure to a broad basket of commodities. In my opinion, look, you can go out there and look for a wheat ETF, but in my opinion, you need exposure to a broad basket of commodities. I'm always like that too. Oh, something else I want to share with you. Most of you know I've been buying a lot of JEPI. I started buying JEPQ as well here. I'm going to bring it up to about maybe 40% of what I have in JEPI. It's kind of what I'm looking at here. Anyway, is that right? I did not know Jim said that. Look, I don't know if Jim said $50,000 gold. I don't know what he's basing that on, other than maybe he wants people to go, oh, really? Wow. Look, I'm a realist. And people can fantasize and whatever they want about where the price action of everything is going to go. I just look at this thing based on the data that's available at the time. And what do people look? I've told you this a million times. I want you to think of the difficulty of what we are actually trying to do. We're playing a game of incomplete information. Not only is it a game of incomplete information, it's a game where the information is changing. You got to wade through a lot of nonsense to get to what's actually going on. You understand? So playing this game of incomplete information reminds me of poker in a lot of ways. When you're trying to conjure up what's going on here. It's not like card counting in blackjack. Blackjack card counting is something I did for a long time. I got pretty good at it too. It got so good that I got kicked out of the Las Vegas casinos because of it. Anyway, when you're counting cards, you can pretty much figure out. I mean, you can definitely figure out who has the advantage at the time by counting cards. It's not that hard to do either. But anyway, let's not talk about blackjack but games of incomplete information make life interesting, in my view, and definitely the game that we are participating in. This entire thing. Having to fill in some of the blanks. And when you do something, when you're like and analyzing something and you're trying to figure out, okay, what's the most likely scenario, and you're kind of like conjuring up, okay, you have to think about each little piece of it, and then what is the most likely scenario that this little piece is going to connect with the other one. It drives me crazy. It really does. I was up last night. I got up in the middle of the night, like 3. Maybe a little before 3 in the morning, and I couldn't sleep. And sometimes when I can't sleep, I know about you, but I get angry. I decided not to get angry about it last night. So what I did while I was sitting there, beaming, looking around the ceiling and everything else, I started to contemplate a lot of things. Just accepted the fact that I wasn't going to be able to sleep. I've been up pretty much almost since then. But I like to think. I like to. If I'm not thinking about something, it's just, I have to constantly think. My brain never stops working. It's always on. And that kind of drives me nuts in a lot of ways. Smoke and Jay and relax. Anyway, people, anything else that you guys and girls want to cover here before I go? Meditation, I don't even know how to meditate, man. I don't know how to do it. I really don't know. Maybe I should join a meditation group or something. I could sit and focus on things like, I'll bounce back and forth from like race cars, obviously, stuff like that. And I just pondering life. I don't really understand how to meditate. Maybe when you out, he can teach me how to do it. Of Gold Coast 6 judging what's a silver. Well, Joe, it's a great question here. I mean, $6,000, Dow 6,000 would be, in my view, a 6,000. We have to also understand this is in a worst case scenario. Even in a not so worst case scenario, it would probably get pretty close with regard to the Dow 8,000. I don't know, but it's so distorted. It's very difficult to get head around this right now. Anyway, so with regard to you have to look at the Dow Gold ratio. Great question. Whatever that may be, 1 to 1, and then for silver, 15 to 1, maybe 10 to 1. It depends on how bad it gets. Somewhere between 10 and 15 to 1 is my target on silver. You have to understand too, and a lot of people maybe don't, that silver is very volatile. It's much more volatile than gold. Gold actually is the most stable asset on the planet. That's really the truth. Its stability is why our forefathers wanted to have a gold standard, which was stolen from every single one of us. You know what I mean? All right, people, look, I think we're getting kind of at the end of this. I want to thank you for those thumbs up. I was really hoping we could do about 800 during the live stream. That's kind of like my target. These thumbs up, like I tell you, they're valuable. It gets the video seen. It gets them out there. Right, Jerome Powell, lick silver. I gave it up. I don't lick silver no more. I may suck on it from time to time, but I'm not going to lick it. All right, people, look, you ready? I prepped you at the beginning. We're going to do what we do every single freaking Friday. All right, because it's the most important thing in my view. You ready? Bring it in. Love each other. Care about each other. Be charitable. We got this, people. I don't care what they do. You see how calm I am right now? I know I get bent out of shape quite a lot, but I'm calm. I'm relaxed. And I'm just freaking mellow. So you're going to see me Sunday for my Marcus A Look Ahead. Again, thank you for your support, all of you here. Just thank you for everything. You're for listening to me. Emanon, absolutely. You want to find out about Emanon? You want to join Emanon? My thing? Okay, go to my website, traderschoice.net. It's the first page, and you'll see. Just click on that link, and you can become one of us in about a minute and a half. All right. Again, I'm out here. Love you all. Have a great weekend, and just take care of each other. All right. Take care of each other. I'll see you.